We go to Mr. Lee Zeldin of New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe personally that it's good that the President has brought an authorization for the use of force against ISIS. My litmus test is going to be very simple. Are we doing absolutely everything in our power to ensure that we win? I have some questions and concerns. The President, in his original strategy back in September when he gave a speech, he was talking about dropping bombs and a reliance on Iraqi military and law enforcement to finish the job. When I was in Iraq in 2006, it was an accomplishment to get them to show up to work, expecting no threat that day. To get them to show up to a precinct that's a quarter mile from their house, we were trying to get them to show up. So relying on elements on the ground who have no morale, no patriotism, they don't have the resources, they don't have the training, they don't have the will is something that we have to take into account. In that speech, the President said this was going to be different than past wars in Afghanistan because there'll be no boots on the ground. And in the same exact speech, he says, tonight I'm announcing I'm sending 495 additional troops to Iraq. Someone shows me a picture of their grandson in the Air Force. He's in Baghdad. He's wearing a uniform. He's carrying a rifle. He's wearing boots. Those boots are on the ground. The use of this term, boots on the ground, here in Washington, the reality is that we have boots on the ground right now, and I think that we need to not worry about what polls say, what wording sounds the best. We also have to understand that we have some of the greatest special operation forces in the entire world. We have the best special operation forces in the entire world. Army Rangers, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Marines, Delta Force. When we talk about boots on the ground, we're not talking about an enduring occupation. No one is talking about that. I don't support that. But I'll tell you what I do want. For a member of ISIS to sleep with one eye open because they fear an Army Ranger may be visiting their house or their fellow terrorist's house to put a round of lead between their eyes. We have to cut off logistics, command and control. We have to find their funding streams and figure out how to cut them out. We need to increase our intelligence gathering abilities. These are all critically important. American exceptionalism isn't about strategic patience right now. American exceptionalism is about instilling fear in an element that does not respect weakness. They only respect strength. Understanding that if we wait 5 years, what we are going to be up against is going to be 100 times greater than what it is right now. I want to support the President's use of force. I also want to do my due diligence. I want to know which troops, what are their missions, who's in charge? Are they going to be given the flexibility and resources ability they're necessary to accomplish the task? The President talks about necessary and appropriate in his resolution. What to him is necessary and appropriate? I'm going to read a letter that I just received with my remaining time. I received this letter from someone who's watching, so there are people at home who watch these hearings. He says, Lee, as a parent of a lieutenant in the Marines, I have no doubt that if deployed, he will do his duty with valor and distinction. However, unless 1, the President can specifically articulate our goals, 2, the President explains a strategy specifically designed to achieve those goals, and those goals include the utter destruction of ISIS wherever they function, and 3, our troops are given whatever they need for however long they need it, without limitation, both as to weapons and tactics, I request that you vote against the authorization. The document as drafted appears to me to be an attempt to codify a failed strategy of limiting our ability to prevail. It is a political document which allows the President to say he cannot do more because Congress will not let him. He knows his strategy is failing and he needs someone else to blame. I will be damned if my son is going to be asked to risk his life for a failed strategy simply to allow the President to avoid the consequences of his incompetence. War is an all-or-nothing thing. Either authorize the full force, political, military, and economic, of the United States, or do not send our troops into harm's way. We must fight to win or not fight at all. Our military has been outstretched. Lives have been lost. Limbs have been lost. Missed birthdays, missed anniversaries, missed holidays. We're not looking for conflict, but conflict has found us. And it's time for us to defeat ISIS. We can't half-ass it. We need to go all out and get the job, not send our troops at all into harm's way. I yield back my time.
We go